Hello, welcome to Bass Guitar Review. I'm Kev Sanders and today we're going to be looking at a Sandberg California VT4 masterpiece. Despite having been around for about 30 years, it feels like German company Sandberg have really exploded onto the international scene in the last decade or so. Their California series basses are a modern take on the traditional P and J recipes and have proved to be among the most popular instruments they make. Here, as with some of the earlier solid body basses, we have an alder body and a maple neck with maple fretboard. The pickup layer is a versatile PJ combination paired with a volume, pickup blend and 2-band EQ. This bass has also been through Sandberg's premium masterpiece treatment, which goes a lot deeper than the obvious visual distressing. The woods have been baked and the whole instrument has been vibrated for several days in order to simulate years of playing so that the bass feels bedded in. Sandberg say that this can be proven scientifically to reduce dead spots and improve sustain. A bass with this spec will set you back £2,815, though if you don't want the masterpiece treatment, that would essentially be half, down to £1,415. With the masterpiece option making up such a large part of the price tag, there is obviously a lot to justify here. So let's listen to a few more clips before we make our minds up. Taking the bass out of its case, there's immediately an elephant in the room here. Artificially aged and distressed instruments can be quite divisive. Yet, inspecting this one, I was very impressed with the authenticity of the work that's been done. It's clearly been very carefully mistreated to capture the vibe of a bass that's been through decades of abuse. At first glance, it feels like a Fender copy, but within a few seconds you start to take in all the ways Sandberg have moved away from the original design to create a truly unique shape. It's like they've just left enough visual clues for you to make the connection. Though with these masterpiece basses, there's an added likeness, since practically the only genuine basses with this kind of wear and tear are going to be those old Precisions and Jazzes anyway. Clever design aside, there are distinctive Sandberg touches all over this bass. The 0 fret, 6-point neck joint, narrow nut width, 14-inch fretboard radius, 22 frets, and the chunky bridge and string tree, all adding up to a distinctly modern, effortless playing experience. Playing the bass unplugged, it has the kind of iconic character that the bass has been inspired by, but it's shocking how much clearer and more responsive it is, and just how much sustain there is on offer. Perhaps above all though, it's one of the most resonant and even sounded basses I've ever heard. Even up at the 22nd fret on any of the strings, there is no loss of sustain and it retains a timbre completely coherent with the rest of the fretboard. The Delano pickups do an admirable job of delivering tones that are both instantly familiar and characterful, but also with a bit more muscle and clarity. The grunt of the front pickup is a classic rock and roll sound, and the bridge has much more depth than you'd expect from a wheezy old asthmatic vintage bass. With the range covered by these two pickups and the passive tone control, you could easily get by in most musical situations. But the inclusion of an active circuit supercharges things and turns it into one of the most versatile 4-string basses you could hope to find. It seems funny to talk about fit and finish when a bass looks as beaten up as this, but looking past the distortion you can see the extreme attention to detail in the fretwork and joinery. Sandberg uses Plek machines for a perfect setup. We're just very pleased that the masterpiece treatment doesn't extend to simulate 50 years of fret wear. After having spent some time with this bass, I have to say it feels like having your cake and eating it too. They've somehow managed to create a bass that plays and responds like a contemporary instrument, but has all the mojo and tone of a holy grail vintage instrument. As only a couple of bits of wood screwed together, there's definitely a sense that it's far more than the sum of its parts. The only thing we'd love to be able to do in the future is compare it directly with the standard model to see how many of these exceptional qualities are the result of the masterpiece treatment. With that said, I've played and reviewed Sandberg basses in the past and I've always really liked them, but this instrument feels like something very special indeed. With Sandberg claiming that these sonic properties are created in a very scientific and repeatable way, I implore you to try one for yourself and see if the £3 price tag doesn't seem so expensive after all. In short, I really want one for myself. But what do you think? Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the bell icon to be notified of our future videos, and let us know if there's any other piece of bass equipment you'd like us to review. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Bass Guitar Review.